Good morning, everyone. This is a video about I don't know what. It feels to me like I'm just going with the flow. I put on this it's a dress. Going through my wardrobe and letting go of bits and pieces, yeah, having a clear out basically of loads of different things that are going on in my mind, and going through those things that I still feel attached to. One of them being, and I personally feel like this is probably very true for lots and lots of women, as Yeshua describes to me, the praying mantis, the man-eater woman, the woman who's like almost like a predator, and loving that one. He still feels a need to try and sexually in some way get a mate, and how does she do that? She does that maybe with things that she's wearing. I look at this top this morning. Look, it's got the zip. So you can show as much cleavage as you want to, and there's still a part of me that feels that this one, this fractured part of me, still looking for love through seeking it in the outside world, through some kind of sexual attraction, some kind of sexual connection with another being. It's very close to my heart because as long as I can remember in my life, I felt so drawn to trying to get this close connection. I just can't seem to find it, and all kinds of traumatic things have transpired, and because of that need to go out and get what I think it is that is love, when actually love has always been there in one way or another. I just chose to try and seek it instead of connecting with that part of myself that is God. And now I'm looking at all the ways that I've used the body. One way being trying to wear particular types of clothes that I think will do the job, in terms of attracting a mate, so then maybe have sex with, or whatever, wherever it leads, to try and get that thing that seems so to elude me. And yet in every moment, through breath, there is connection, there is wholeness, there is what Yeshua calls the light that lights up the world. There is what you truly are, which you can connect to at any time. And as I'm connecting now here with you, drawing my attention to the internal happenings, the internal feeling of isness, what is in the now present moment, and expanding my awareness from there. It kind of feels like it's here in the solar plexus, the core of me, is where I feel undoubtedly connected to the God self, the higher self, some people call it. I don't like higher self because it makes me think of hierarchy, that something can be better than something else or is above something else. This is not the truth. It's also not the truth that there's separate spheres of awareness, because there is nothing that's separate. So when I'm connecting with that part of me, I see it just as one thing. Simplifies it a lot for me. Other people will find it easier to go in stages and see duality at first. I even had a conversation with someone yesterday about teaching a duality to begin with, because people find it easier to understand as they start waking up. But for me, I find it easier just to connect with the isness of everything that is now. So the whole thing all in one go, all in one chunk, which a lot of people will probably say that's still ego. I don't know. I just do what comes to me. And I didn't know that I was going to do this video this morning. That's another thing that just came to me. A lot has been going on, and a lot of density has been looked at. And over the weekend I did many drawings and much chanting and light language, and I feel as if a whole universe of thinking about victim and perpetrator, how we see ourselves in this world as either us against them or them against us. A load of that has passed through me and come out and been eliminated, so that I can embrace it and love it for what it was, but now realise that it is not me anymore, and it no longer serves the purpose of Christ consciousness, which doesn't in any way have anything to do with the mind that wants to see itself as separate from anyone or anything. So embracing and accepting the self that wants to be a predator. When I think about predator, I think about animals and how certain particular animals will go out and hunt. What they're actually doing, they're, to me, in innocence, they are seeking to be fed. So they seek to feed the body. The body has to be nourished and fed to be kept healthy. It needs certain things to, if you believe in the body, to survive. And there are stages of awareness where there is realization that that sphere of awareness, the awareness of the body, is actually just a way of thinking. So embracing that way of thinking from a small mind, like you would a little child, or an animal. I like to think of my cat like this because she shows me innocence in a way that perhaps I wouldn't understood in myself if I didn't have something around me that I knew didn't have that kind of thinking mind that judges everything, puts it in a box and makes assumptions and definitions of things. Yeah, just loving that one who wants to seek the profundity of love's essence, the joining quality for me is kind of the thing that is absolutely bulldozing over everything in my life, everything else. If it doesn't have that quality, then I know that I'm stopping myself from receiving it in some way. So it's a sexual joining quality that is, well, it's also sensual as well, and it's a quality of light that pours through me when I welcome all of the misuses of the body, of the way of doing things, of the substitutes, the false idols, whatever you want to call them. When I welcome them, I say, no, open the door. I let you in. I see it in someone else, so I know I've already judged myself. I've already decided that that part of me, I don't like that part of me. I see it in someone else and it makes me recoil because I think, it's just, why do I need to do that? It's seen as a weakness. But it's not a weakness. It's not a weakness, because what it is in reality is the desire to be fed. Now, when you see a baby crying to be breastfed, is that a weakness? Is it a weakness for a baby to cry and want to be breastfed? It's innocent, isn't it? It's innocent. So as we get older, we put up barriers in the way that we want to be fed. We remember how we were fed as a baby. We remember all the sensual quality of that, the joining quality of it, and it turns into a sexual desire, a desire to take, or, from someone else, what we know is rightfully ours, our sovereign right to receive and give love. And when we go out and seek it, we're actually seeking from the remembrance of what we were before we even came in. So before we even were a baby. To me, this is really, really significant part of my waking up, to connect with all the different stages of personhood. The baby, the little child, the toddler, all those, or the teenager, all those different stages we go through where we shut off eventually our connection to God. To see where we've done that is so important. And I know that I've spent so much of my life feeling bad about the things that I've done to try and get that connection again. The latching on. It literally is like latching on being breastfed. And in the Gospel of St. Thomas, I know there's a passage in there where Yeshua walks past a group of mothers who are breastfeeding, and he makes some kind of comment about it. This is what it's like in heaven. Literally, you are being fed all the time. If only you would receive it. So connecting to, I think I'm going to do some kind of meditation now for this one who wants to try and get through using the body some kind of desire to, and people do it in all different in all different ways. Some people will use the body, some people will try and attract with their finances, with what they've got. You know, they might have a fast car, and that for some women, they'll look at that and they'll think, wow, you know, this is something I want to be seen with this person. Or they might be a high status person in society. There might even be a guru. There might be someone who is actually seen as an authority figure. So many people fall for teachers and gurus because they think that they can be fed from this person. They feel the huge amount of light because there's a huge clarity, there's huge clearance of all the old traumas and dramas and karmic ways of being in the world has been cleared a lot in these beings, and that is very, very attractive because it is a strength. They don't need anything from the world anymore. They've cleared all those needs and wants, and the one true desire that rings through completely is the love of God, and that is extremely attractive. So it can be that teachers, people in authority are going to be very attractive to some people. To other people, it could be someone who's seen as bad, someone who actually walks all over people. Some people are attracted to that as well. It's always a good idea to take time and breathe into these things that attract us to things that don't do us any good and take away from what we really want to receive, which is love of God. Because what we're doing is we're always choosing this littleness, this smallness in ourselves that we think is who we are, and we're not. We're not that. We're so much more than what our small mind thinks we are. And if we choose it in every moment, we can rise above this mind that wants to keep us imprisoned by using various different means. It's like a displacement activity. It's like things that you do to keep that I, to keep that smallness, to keep that one who wants lack, because it doesn't want to take responsibility for what it's scared of. So Yeshua's way is the way of looking at all the uses that you've made of the body and situations, events, other people, and turning these things that the mind normally uses to create its sense of itself, and turning that, looking at those things and then realizing where you have a trigger. For me, it's when I see someone being predatory or seeking to tell others how to be, through using its authority and knowledge, and that triggers me because I see it in myself. So I see that I want to use knowledge, or what I see, or information, or what I see as now I just see as facts and figures. They're actually quite meaningless. How much you know in the world is not the same as truth or wisdom, which comes from God, which everyone has the seed of in equal amounts. Yeah, knowledge of the world and how to be in the world is completely different. And when people use that knowledge, or that perhaps they're a very intelligent person, they have intellectual ability to in a predatory way, so in a way to try and trap people, to get them to pay them attention, or to I don't know, teach in a certain way, or give a certain image of themselves which is not the truth, that triggers me. So it's not about them, because they are me. If I choose to turn my attention round and look at those triggers, so I'm looking at the side that wants to kind of draw towards it what it thinks is going to help it, which is innocent. Because, like I said earlier, it's a way to be fed. And when you realise this, all these judgments about yourself being triggered and being attracted to being the predator, being the one who wants to try and get from people, all the guilt from that and the feeling that it makes you weak is seen to be what it is, which is nothing. It's nothing, because you're just doing it on top of what you've already got. It's extraneous to what already exists, which is the truth, which is God, which is wholeness, which you can connect to through breath, moment to moment. It's a discipline. It's a practice. It's not something that I feel like I've mastered yet, but it's happening, and it is part of the process to always connect first with breath. And when you decide, when you choose to connect to the ones who you feel guilty about, the one who wants to show a bit of cleavage, the one who wants to teach others something, the one who thinks it's got something to say all the time, all of it is wanting to connect with God. It's just a substitute for that. It's so innocent, and it's playing. And when you get bored of that playing, when you realise that nothing else will do apart from wholly connecting through breath with God in every moment, which is our choice, our divine right, then you're choosing for peace. You're choosing who you really are, and you are ascending, and you transcend the world, so you can be in the world but yet not of the world. So this is another one of Yeshua's teaching from Way of Mastery. I strongly felt him give me a push this morning to talk about. I didn't know what I was going to talk about, to be honest, at all. I just felt the urge to put this revealing top on with the zip. And then it kind of brought these feelings that I was talking about with a friend yesterday, can it be seen as innocent? Because when you can see it in yourself as being innocent, you connect with that baby of you, the one that wants to be eternally connected to the breast, you know, breastfeeding, nurtured, or the one who's in the womb, even further back, and even before that. You can sit in meditation and meditate until you go back in time, if you want to see it like that, on a timeline before you even came into the world. You can ask Holy Spirit and connect that way. And when you see all these things for how they really are, then you start to realize that there's nothing on Facebook, on YouTube, outside there, you know, when you're walking down the street, in a shop, there's nothing that can't be loved. Nothing. Because all of it is you. All of it is happening for you. It's all coming through you. And you're seeing where you still have grips, and you're just seeing where you still choose not to love yourself and open up to God. And allow God to be however God is through you, artistically, sexually, creatively, through sport, or through any activity that you can think of. None of it matters what it is that you do, because all of it is God. All of it. When you've opened yourself up and let go of those things that you think you judge yourself by, I think that's it. I kind of had a little tap on my shoulder then. So yeah, connecting to the God self, moment to moment, to look at those feelings of sadness, of trying to get something, the need to get what you think the mind tells you is what you are, what you need to get, but is not what you need to get. Because actually, if you just relaxed and just sat there for a moment or two and breathe, you'll discover that wholeness, light, love, everything, which I don't know what that is, or what it's for. I don't know. When I allow that mystery to be birthed in me as God, as Christ consciousness, which is a way of being in the world, but yet not of the world. So in every moment I'm rising above these fears that I need to get something, when actually in reality everything's already done, everything's already provided for. God knows exactly what I want, as I have prayed to God many, many times, saying, oh, this quality of someone or something, I love this so much, I love it so much. And if God is the most loving, as we think as human beings, if it is the most loving thing that we can ever possibly imagine, just even in the small mind, then God is always going to answer your prayers. If your prayers are not answered, that is only because you've chosen again to judge yourself and come from fear. So just looking at those fears, looking at how the body is used, looking at how situations and how you use life to create that small self. Yeah. Thank you.